I have a problem. As a freelancer, I'm terrible at tracking my money. Google Sheet works, but it's clunky on mobile. Notion can show charts, but only one free version, and it's also clunky on mobile.
My app that I hate on mobile is Notion.
I didn't want to fight spreadsheets every time I leave a store, so I built an expense and income tracker specifically built for freelancers. Today I'll walk you through why I built it, the design and tech choices behind it, a live demo, and the mistakes I made so you don't have to repeat them. The purpose of this app is simple. Quickly log expenses and incomes for the current month, tag entries with clients or categories, and see which clients actually pay the bills and which ones just waste my time. When it came to the design, I followed an old saying that every good artist steals. I pulled up inspiration from Dribbble and Behance, dropped those ideas into Figma and sketched out a rough draft of the app. But later I'll tell you about 3 AI tool I found that helped me drastically with the design process. Once I had something on the screen, it was time to actually build it. I chose Flutter because I wanted one code base for both iOS and Android, and it allows me to move quickly. Flutter also has amazing developer tools for debugging and hot reloading. I briefly tried React Native, but with Expo it just felt like there were too many moving parts and magic happening behind the scenes, and Flutter just felt more straightforward. The development process definitely took longer than I expected, mostly because I'm still learning Flutter and keep iterating and changing the original ideas. And yes, I did use AI in this project, but I didn't vibe code this. I used Cursor more as a teacher, asking questions and then sending up the Cursor rules file so it behaved like a proper coding teacher. This way I can speed up my learning. Of course, sometimes when I was tired and needed to add something small, I asked AI to do it for me, like I'm not a saint. Alright, now let's move to the app demo. On top in the main screen you have a line chart showing all of your incomes and expenses from the past month, so you can compare different months to each other. On top of you have yearly net income, this month's net income, and your average hourly rate. It is year to date. For each of them you can change currency you want the information to show. Below you have all of the lists of the transactions, of all of the expenses, all of the incomes. You can hide the line chart. You can of course switch between dark mode and light mode. On the top right you have a refresh button if sometimes something didn't load properly, so you can always refresh that. Next up you have add transaction screen. On the top you choose between adding an income and expense. You add your amount, then you choose which currency you want this amount to be. For expense you choose category. For income you choose client, you choose your current date, you pick if it's a recurring transaction, you can pick monthly, daily, weekly, every interval, so every week. For example, every second week, every third week, every second month, you pick the beginning date and the end date. At the bottom you can add short description, for example, video editing, and you can add hours spent on this project and your rate per hour will be automatically calculated. You can also change the rate per hour and then the amount will change based on the hours spent and the rate per hour. You can save that and it will show in the main screen. And the last screen is a graph screen in which you have pie chart to show you the distribution between different clients or categories. If you pick expenses or incomes, you can sort by client, by hours spent, by income per hour. I should pick rate per hour, but I will change that, or by currency for some reason. You can pick descending or ascending. You can hide the pie chart so you can easily see the list, and in the end you have settings screen which you can pick your default currency, you can see where the rates of the currencies were updated, and you can clear all data from all incomes and expenses. And if you pick on the main screen, you can click the expense and you can edit it however you like. And I think that's it. If you have any ideas on what should I add, please leave them in the comments. I would love to hear them. Alright, now let's move to lessons learned and tips. So first, publishing is way harder than you think. You need a privacy policy website, and on Android actually you need 12 internal testers before you can even submit the app to review. Also, the review process is really strict, especially on iOS. Second is you really need to focus on the design in the beginning. I made a rough draft of my app, but next time I'll make sure the design is 100% done and I'm 100% satisfied with it. And only then I've moved into development. The reason is, in Figma you can easily change things around, change colors, change the layout, but in development it takes ages and usually generates a lot of bugs. And also I think that users care more about the design more than all of the features of the app. Okay, now I mentioned this before, but I found an AI design tool called Google Stitch. Since I didn't have much experience with designing a mobile app, this tool helped me drastically to improve my current design. Next one is you need to learn the basic first. Watch some tutorials on YouTube, buy some cheap course before you start building. This way you'll be able to ask better questions to AI and you can spot simple mistakes that sometimes AI just cannot see, and then it goes into like weird death spiral of trying to fix everything but nothing is working, and then it generates even more bugs. You spend hours trying to fix all of that and you end up with open terminal trying to reinstall Flutter for no reason, which will not solve the problem. And yes, that was the story that actually happened to me. And this ties down to my next tip, which is if you're starting out, please set up Git and GitHub. Being able to roll back changes in your code is a lifesaver, especially if you or AI break some things by accident. Next one is, if you think you're 90% done with the app, you're actually 10% done and there's 90% more work. You think you have the MVP, but then it comes to debugging, polishing down, edge cases, during which you find even more things to fix, so it takes forever. And the last, clearly define when the app is done. I could add so many more features to this app, but then I would never finish it. I would work on it for the next few months until I burned out, or I would lose track of what the app is supposed to be about. So this is where the project stands. The app isn't published yet, but I'll leave the links below for open testing, iOS through TestFlight, and for Android I'll figure out a solution and leave the instructions in the description below. And of course, if you have any ideas for improvement, drop them in the comments below, I would love to hear them. And of course, liking and subscribing helps a lot if you want to follow along for the journey. Thank you so much for watching and see you soon. Oh my gosh,